The Short Take with Alex and Jake.
Hello, and welcome to The Short Take, the podcast where we talk about all things short films, apart from when we don't. I'm your host, Jake, and with me, as ever, is my co-host, Alex.
Hey, yeah.
How you doing this week?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, good.
How far through the Barbenheimer marathon are you?
Midway. So I just, I say midway, sorry. I'm halfway through Oppenheimer. I left the cinema to come and record this.
And you're going back
Then I'm going to
after.
go back to another screening, but get in at the exact moment I left. And I'll do the same thing for the next episode, but with Barbie.
With Barbie,
Because
okay,
I'm doing
cool.
Oppenheimer then Barbie.
Of course.
I feel like that's the right way to do it. I feel like people keep saying that, like, I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people saying that you should go Barbie first and then Oppenheimer.
I'm doing it Barbie first.
I think Oppenheimer makes more sense first.
Yeah.
Just because I want to get sadder than happy. I don't want to be happy than sad.
Yeah, but see,
And I assume Barbie does get
Barbie's
a bit sad.
not necessarily happy,
Yeah, but it's happier than Oppenheimer.
I guess.
Barbie, I'm assuming, no spoilers, I'm assuming Barbie doesn't end with a nuclear bomb being dropped on Hiroshima.
I don't know, man. Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
This week we're on episode 11.
Bloody hell.
I know.
Is
And
that the halfway point?
yes, we do 22.
We do 22,
So
don't we?
we're at the
Yeah.
halfway point after this
Bloody
episode.
hell.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I think this is a very appropriate one for the halfway point, in my opinion.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on episode 11,
Mm-hmm.
and the film this week that Alex has picked is called The Neighbour's Window.
Yeah.
And actually, this is the first time we've both accidentally picked the same film. So I actually picked this one as well, but I
Yeah.
do have a different one for the next episode.
Which is funny because the next episode one
Is
we
also-
also is one we
Yeah.
both looked at and kind of picked
But we
without
both-
either of us picking it.
We both knew. that
Yeah,
the other
exactly.
one would pick
Different to how
one.
this
Yeah,
happened.
this one was an accident.
But
So-
yeah, these next two are kind of like universally both of us chose them.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, which is weird.
This one is being allocated to Alex, and the next one to me. But yeah, we did both pick them, which is quite fun.
And I think you made a mistake allocating this one to me
Why?
because
So intrigued.
Jade, I think that The Neighbour's Window is maybe the best short film we've watched at all.
Really?
Yep.
I have a lot to say about this film.
I have a lot to say, but good.
Okay.
I think this beats Tickle Monster for me.
Wow.
And that's saying something.
Well, we'll have to get into that in a
Yeah.
second. Do you want to hit us with the synopsis and such first?
I don't think I do. So, the IMDb synopsis for the film says, and I don't know how this is worded, so I might reword it.
Okay.
It tells us.
It tells, God.
The story of a middle-aged woman with small children whose life is shaken up when two free-spirited 20-somethings move in across the street. There is a synopsis on the YouTube video, but it's like got all the actors' names in it and like every accolade. So, The Neighbour's Window, written and directed by Academy Award-winning filmmaker Marshall Curry, tells the story of a mother, Maria Dizier, who has grown frustrated with her husband, Greg Keller, and her daily routine, but her life is shaken up when two free-spirited 20-somethings move in across the street, and she discovers that she can see into their apartment.
Oh, an extra line in that one.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is an Academy Award-winning film. It's
Which?
Oscar. It's one of the
Oscar?
Oscar short film. You can see the clip of him receiving the Oscar on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is
a big one.
yeah
Interesting. Okay.
backing up my claims. I have no idea how much this was made for.
Okay.
I really tried to find out because I'm so curious what the budget is.
Yeah.
Because it looks expensive.
It does.
Very well shot. But also, there's so little in it in terms of locations and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's
That it could be made on barely anything.
Yeah.
I'm just very curious. It's got a big crew and stuff like that, and obviously you've got child actors in it, which in itself causes, like, in terms of shooting schedule, I imagine, kind of changes how you
nightmare.
film. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really, really like this film.
Okay.
I
cool.
think I have more to say. You know how we usually say, like, there are films where it's like, oh, it's so good that there's not actually much to say. Mm-hmm. I actually think this is so good that I have a lot to say.
Interesting.
Like, I think it just kind of supersedes that idea. And
Yeah.
I don't have a ton in my dads or nitpicks.
I do have a few.
Okay.
I think we'll probably have an argument about some of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick us off with some good? I feel
Yeah,
like you have
okay.
a lot to say.
Let's kick us in good. First of all, as I said, I think this film is shot amazingly.
Yeah, I think it's such good coverage.
Gorgeous. The cinematographer, the DOP I looked up, he's mostly seems to have done documentary stuff, which I think is really interesting.
That is really interesting.
And I think it's evidenced by the stuff like the really good establishing shots that are in the film, like the ones in the park near the end,
Yeah.
and like on the street, and like how good those shots look, and they clearly are. He's just gone down into like the street in New York and like shot some footage really quick.
Yeah.
But it's so good. Like it looks amazing. And I also think the voyeuristic nature of what the film's kind of talking about and the way it's shot in certain areas makes sense to the idea of him being a documentary DOP rather than a classic DOP. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think so anyway. I think there's something to that. I think that might be why it looks so good at points.
Because, I mean, definitely parts of it, because obviously the story is about a couple who are watching people across the street. That is very nature documentary, isn't it? You're like,
exactly.
From
just
afar,
witnessing life, fly on the wall sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think incredibly shot. I think it looks beautiful. I think it really does a good job of a lot of really good visual storytelling rather than saying stuff a lot of the time, especially with the montage scene.
Yeah, I like the montage scene quite a lot. Yeah, that one's quite fun.
I think the main actress is incredible.
Yes.
I think she's very good.
Yeah, she really sells it.
The husband, I don't think is quite as good, and I think there are a few lines where I don't think he's bad. I think at the very least he has screen presence in a good way, and I think they have chemistry in a good way.
Yes, I think they have chemistry. I think his problem is a mix between bad dialogue and bad delivery.
Yes, I
think
don't disagree.
It is a mix.
Yeah, there are a few bits where it kind of takes me out of it when I listen to him. But I think in all, I think he's good, and I think considering how little he's in it, I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah.
I believe him and her as a couple, which I think is more the point to me, or more important to me.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
I think the little girl's amazing.
Yeah.
She kills me.
That
There's
little
like
line.
2 bits in it where she makes me laugh. It's the bit, where she
Where she's
says,
like, what did he do wrong?
Yeah, it's like, again? Like, amazing. And then just after that, there's a bit, or I say just after, near the end of the film, it's a tiny bit where she's in her buggy and she gets herself out, and it's the line about, oh, did Luther like it? It's like, no, he cried, or something like that, which makes you laugh. And then she gets out of her buggy, and then she puts her coat down, and then she runs off screen, and the way she runs kills me. It melts my heart.
I didn't
She's so
notice that.
cute. I assume she's running to someone off camera, sort of thing is the idea, but...
She said the line about the dad giving Luther the milkshake, didn't she, as well?
Yes, that's very funny. That same bit, it's very good. Drama is really hard to do. I think this is the big thing about the film for me. Drama's really hard to do, and this is a 20-minute drama.
It's quite long. It's one of the longest films we've
think
watched.
it is, but it does not feel it. To me, anyway.
Yeah, I think for the most part it didn't feel that long.
Okay.
But I think there was a moment in the middle where it started to drag a bit for me.
Interesting. I think it's the montage, possibly.
No, it's just before that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Once the montage hits, I think it kind of you're going into Act 3 and it starts to pick up a bit more.
That's fascinating.
There's just a little. It's not much. It's a very minor thing, but there's a bit just before that I don't.
See,
really
for me,
like
I
too
think
much.
the montage, as much as I like the montage, and I think the montage is good, the montage for me is the bit of the film where I'm like, I don't know if this needs to be what it is.
Okay.
I think before that I really like it, and after that I really like it.
I think the setup, the Act 1 setup, is so strong.
Oh, amazing! They do so much in so little time.
Yeah, the conversation where they're just sitting and watching them.
Her just picking up the toys on the ground at the very first bit. Which is
that's
up
quite
toys.
good.
That tells you so much in like seconds.
Yeah.
And then the setup of them looking across the street.
Yeah.
Incredible. Masterful storytelling. It's like nuts.
Yeah. Really good.
Pacing, I think, is really, really strong. The fact it's 20 minutes, it doesn't feel like 20 minutes to me, and the fact that it's a drama and it holds you and actually makes you like believe it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you definitely buy into it.
I don't want to be rude to the previous film we talked about, or the one before the previous one, when we talked about The Strangers Who Meet.
2 Strangers Who Meet 5 times. Yeah,
Thank
2
you,
episodes ago.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the difference, I think, is that in that film, I don't necessarily buy the drama as much as...
Yeah, I think the problem
more
with that
melodramatic.
one is the scale is a bit too big, maybe,
Yeah.
along those lines, whereas this is very self-contained. It's like one message.
Which is... maybe that is what it is. Maybe it's the messaging more so like the thematic element of it.
Because, again, with the Act 1 setup, it sets up that, like, a couple who are starting to feel a bit old, a bit run down, and like they're seeing this young couple who are like
and we get to
in the
stay
prime of
with,
their life.
We get to stay with and know those characters more than we ever do, I feel like, with the other characters.
Well, yeah,
in Two Strangers.
They're just in Two Strangers, yeah.
I mean, like, the main characters in this film, we actually, especially her, obviously, 'cause she is the main character.
Yeah.
The mum. We really get to like know them and sit with them.
Yeah.
Whereas with the other characters, because they don't know each other, they never really we don't get to know them.
Yeah. I think actually, just as a very quick detour, my complaint about Two Strangers Who Meet 5 times that I picked up on right at the end was that the scenes weren't too long. I don't think I explained myself very well.
Yeah.
And I think it's that. I think that it's you don't sit with the characters long enough to know and care about them.
Yeah.
And then because like the scenes are over before that happens, but then this does.
But then I do understand why you wouldn't want to do that, because again, it is this thing of like, really, you want to make a film short. You want your short film to be short, and the longer you get, the worse it gets. That's why I think this is so good, and that's why it really is blowing me away. This is a
it's so
20-minute film.
Yeah.
That's insane. And
That's like a sitcom episode.
Exactly,
almost.
but it works, and it doesn't feel that long, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's insane to me that he's pulled that off, and it's a drama, it's not a comedy. A comedy, I feel like, could fly by at 20 minutes. Like, if you're just, like, pushing...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With a drama, to hold you in a drama for 20 minutes, and it should just be a short film, is nuts. Like, how did he do that? It's like a magic trick. Yeah, it's fucking blown my mind. Kind of to come back to the cinematography stuff, I think the shots of both... the shot throughout of the window and what we see and what we don't see when it's just their faces looking and we're not seeing what they're seeing.
Yeah, I think that is a
So
very
clever.
interesting distinction that they made at certain points of the
Yes.
film, like that you don't see what's happening a lot of the
Yeah.
time. A lot of it is because it would be mature rated.
Yeah. Also, I think it's the element of thinking about what's more important in the scene. Is it important what they're doing, or is it important that they're watching?
Yeah.
And in 90% of it, it's important they're watching.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Alongside that, the framing of the window and like how they did that is really strong. I think the way we see them across the window, and then I think the final
the final
quote
shot of
unquote
her watching
twist
them.
of the film where
Yeah.
you find out that she's been watching them,
Yeah.
and her and her husband, and like it's that grass is always greener
Yeah.
on the other side story.
Yeah, I've put twist in inverted commas
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
like not a twist, but you
No.
know, and then
It's like a reframing, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. It's the moral of the story, essentially. And then the final shot being us seeing them from their perspective and how lovely it looks.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, yeah, they're like a really lovely family.
Yeah.
And like the idea that this whole time, and it's the idea you would never know the problems they were going through from
Yeah.
the other end, in the same way they couldn't really know until like it got as bad as it got.
Yeah.
That what each other's issues were. I think it's just such a clever use of that.
Yes. Yeah.
I should say as well, apparently this is not... it's based on a true story, or inspired by a true story that's been told by someone else.
Okay.
So in the description it says, this fictional film was inspired by a true story told by Diane Wiper, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, on Love Plus Radio's The Living Room, produced by Brianna Breen and Brenda Baker. You can hear the original story here, and it's loveandradio.org.
Oh, interesting. I might listen to that then.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I assume it's, just this story.
Yeah.
But like,
Different.
real.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else I loved about it. I thought the music's pretty strong.
I think they do a really good job of using silence and
Yes.
using music.
Yeah.
Because when you're watching the neighbor's husband die at the end, it just holds
It doesn't-
on the window.
yeah.
Doesn't cut away
No.
It cuts away once to see her looking with the binoculars, but
Yeah.
only once, and it's just silent.
Yeah.
You can only hear the wind between their buildings. I think that's really
And
good.
then when it cuts from there to her, because that's the moment she decides to actually go over there, right? Because
Yeah.
she goes outside. And the cut to outside when she's walking over, then the sound suddenly comes in. Or like,
Yeah.
because it's like she's outside, so you have the sound of the street.
Yeah.
And the juxtaposition from her being in there kind of isolated to then outside, it's like really hits for some reason.
Yeah.
Fucking it's amazing.
Even though you said it's very paced very well,
Yeah.
it's obvious. It's like a Fargo pacing where it's meant to be kind of slow.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I would say, and I think,
It's like slice of life almost. You're like just
Yeah.
in the scenes.
and I think that the editing and stuff does really lend to that because you're like you're
Yeah.
holding on things a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You're like you're leaving the audience with a bit more each time kind
Yeah.
of thing. I think it shows someone who's really thought about this and
Yeah.
thought about why they're making the edits they're making.
Yeah.
I think that's really impressive.
I think it's also a testament to the idea of what we're seeing as always the most important moments. I can't remember if I said this on the podcast at any point. One of my favourite writers is Elmore Leonard, who's
Not
another
said that, I
writer.
don't think.
Okay, he's a really, really good writer. He writes books, and he's written a few screenplays like
Yeah.
way back in the 60s. But one of my favourite quotes from him is he's always said the reason he thinks his books are popular is because he said, I just stopped writing the bits no one wanted to read.
Oh, you have said that.
Have I said
Yes,
that?
yes,
Okay.
you have. Yeah.
I think that's kind of in filmmaking, that's the same thing. It's just like whatever you're seeing should be the most important stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
And I think every single scene in the film, we're jumping through time to the points that matter. Because like there is time in between the first scene and the next scene. Because he has the binoculars and she said, like, oh, for your birthday, you wanted them.
Yeah.
What did she say he wanted them for?
to go up to the Catskills.
To do what?
To the Catskills.
What's that?
It's a New York holiday tradition thing.
Okay.
I watched this film when I was kind of picking it.
Yeah.
About 2 months ago.
Okay.
Maybe. I did not pick up on that line at all. I was like, what the fuck is the
I
Catskills?
picked up on it both times, but I just like didn't really hear what she said, and I was like, I don't know what she said.
But then since then, I've watched the first 2 seasons of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and in season 2 they go to the Catskills, and
amazing.
it was like it's like a whole arc in the TV show. They go up to the Catskills, and it's like a whole thing. It's the summer, and they're like chilling out. I was like, oh, I guess this is what the Catskills is. I had no idea. And then I watched it again. I was like, oh, they mentioned the Catskills. So if I hadn't have watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I would have no idea what the Catskills is.
And that's why this episode is sponsored by Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Should go watch it. The first 2 seasons are good.
I really want to actually. I just know how.
Not finished it, so I don't.
Prime, right?
Yes, it's Amazon Prime. I don't know what the last 3 are like because I've not watched them.
I'll watch them.
Oh, one thing I really, really enjoyed in the first scene. When I say the first scene, I mean like the bit where they're first watching them when they have it sex.
Scene,
The bit where he says, "Oh, do you want to like turn out the light so they can't see us?"
And she says, "Why should we? We're not doing anything wrong." And then she does it.
But like I love the
gap
line
of time.
I love that, but also it's a really nice side profile shot of both of them.
Yeah.
And when she turns out the light, he goes completely black, and you can't see him anymore. And she's in the box of the doorway, so you can still see her from the hallway light.
Yeah.
I think that's such a nice way of like demonstrating her mindset at that point. She's like kind of. She's way too focused on this thing, and she's like forgetting about her husband kind of thing. She's like detaching herself from her life.
Yeah.
I think that was such a nice, subtle way to indicate
I really,
that.
really like the way they showed the relationship between the two of them as well, because I think it's really real and it's really like honest.
Yeah.
But strong. I like the fact that it's not like, oh, there are a couple who are in shambles or like something like that. They're just a normal
couple.
Part
of life.
Yeah,
part
like
of life.
They're like struggling, but like they're managing.
Yeah.
And they're fine.
It's just like, having to drop kids off at school and just look after kids in general.
Yeah. There's so many good shots in this film. The shot in the montage when she's looking out the window and then you see the dad coming in the background and stand there and see her.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then he
yeah.
just walks
I like
away
that.
again.
I do want to bring that up again, but I do like that shot a lot.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
That's everything on my good list. I've spoken about everything.
I don't know if I can think of anything else that I want to... I mean, I think the writing's obviously strong. I think there are bits of dialogue that don't feel quite right, but nothing crazy to me.
Okay.
And I actually think maybe it's more down to the delivery than it is the writing. I think actually if you looked at the written words, I think they're actually fine.
Yeah, maybe.
I think.
Maybe.
I can't think of anything that's jumping out at me. Like I said, the music's pretty good. I think it's like does its job, if you know what I mean.
It's very understated.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should also say the production design's really good.
I think we did kind of mention it at the start, but yeah, the set is very good.
It's really good.
It feels
really
lived in.
Wonder where they filmed. This must be on a studio or something. I'm just thinking to get the outdoor shots of both of them.
It doesn't feel like a studio set, but it could well be.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know.
I've watched this like so many times now.
Yeah.
This morning when we were watching it, I was purposely looking out the windows to see if I could tell, and I couldn't tell.
Right? It feels real.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something... I just don't get how you would get the shots. I don't know.
Well, if you have access to both apartments, you could... Or I guess drone shots are a thing, so it could just be a drone.
This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Going back to the themes of the film and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's something really interesting about the idea of it essentially being about parasocial relationships almost, in a sense.
Okay.
The idea of thinking you know someone from but you don't know them.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Based on just what you see.
And the idea of comparing yourself with other people's lives and stuff, which I think is so fucking such a thing now with social media and stuff. And the idea they've told this story but not with social media, I think is really interesting.
Well, I think it is. I think it is very human.
Oh, it's human. It's totally human. I just mean
to other people, but
it's so much more easier to compare yourself now.
It's much more present.
Yeah.
In current societal life.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I completely see what you're saying.
I feel like they could easily have fallen down the hole of being like, wait a minute, what if it was like a Facebook post? What if she was
reality,
just,
man?
What if she was just looking at her Facebook all the time?
That's the power of social media, baby.
and then that's how a film like this becomes the one we watched. What was the one we watched?
Reality.
That
was a very direct reference to it that you didn't seem to pick up on.
God, I'm sorry. I just wanted to blank that film from my brain after watching it. No offense. Yeah, I think that's everything good I want to say.
Should we move on to the bad then?
If you want to.
Should I lead?
Go on.
So one thing we mentioned already, I think the husband called Jacob. I didn't actually mention their names are Ali and Jacob in the credits.
They are, yes.
They never mention it.
No,
but
I think she calls him Jacob.
Does she?
I think so. That rings a bell. I feel like there's a scene where she says Jacob.
Okay. So yeah, Ali and Jacob are the main characters. Jacob, I think, as I said, I think it's a mix of maybe bad writing, bad delivery. I think he makes too many like hand gestures and stuff a bit.
That's
sometimes.
interesting.
It was a bit.
I
like,
did pick up on that.
I'm not too good at pick up on acting things.
Yeah.
But there was something about it that felt disingenuous. I don't know what it was, and it didn't compromise the film particularly. So I guess this is more of a nitpick, really.
Yeah.
But it was something that I picked up on, that he wasn't the best. Maybe it was because she was better.
She's very good.
She's very, very good. So maybe that's all it is. Maybe she's just
Out
a
of
lot
curiosity, when you think about him being bad in all these scenes, is it the scene where they argue, or do you also think?
No,
of the
there's a
first
few.
scene?
There's a few.
Because I think in the scene where they argue, I agree. I think he flubs quite a few line readings.
He does, yeah. I think the first scene is fine.
Yeah,
I think he's good in the
I don't
first
have an
scene,
issue with him in
but
any
it's
scene
more than
otherwise.
just the argument scene.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are a couple of line deliveries where I'm like, oh, I didn't really buy that.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a big deal, but
Yeah.
it's something I picked up on.
That's fair.
I think the argument that they have in the middle starts out really, really good, but then they just kind of start to talk about the subtext of the film a bit too much.
Okay.
So when they're just standing and watching them across the street,
Yeah.
they're just saying like, "Oh, I'm starting to feel really old," and then he's like, "I'm starting to feel old as well."
Do you
I
mean
wish
the
I
bit
could
where
be.
he's like, "You're not the only one who like misses being 22 and all that."
and going
yeah.
out and partying. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're veering very close to just.
I do
saying
see what you're
the
saying.
Film is about.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not a big deal, but for me, that really slowed the pacing down loads, and B, it just kind of told you what the film was about.
I think I don't disagree. You're right, like in what you're saying. Like I think they do that. I think for me, because of the way the scene, because obviously at the end of that scene is the moment where essentially, because then he does the joke of like I'm like miss getting jiggy with it, and then she's like that song came out before they were born and all that stuff, and then they like hug, and then like he's like come here and they hug and they like have a moment. I think it to me with that on the end of it. I think if you didn't have the moment of them really actually saying what they're feeling, that moment doesn't happen because
It's
otherwise,
just building tension.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise,
And
it just
it's-
becomes sad and it's like an argument where really it is an argument. But I think it kind of shows how healthy their relationship is that they both just kind of say what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah,
kind of are able to link together with that.
No, I think it's.
But I do see
obviously
what you're
very
saying.
like it's very healthy for a real life relationship.
Yeah.
But we are watching a film.
But then I don't think the tension of the film is that.
No, I know. 100% agree that.
Yeah.
They're not trying to build tension in that way at all.
Yeah.
But I just think, I don't know, maybe just change a couple of the lines so it's not quite on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it didn't take me out of it or
Yeah.
anything. It was just like, it was something that bothered me quite a bit.
No, that's fair.
And I would probably have done a rewrite of that bit
Interesting.
if I'd kind of, you know.
Yeah.
In the first scene, it felt like they were both going to be the main character.
Yes.
That it was about both of them. And then it kind of veers toward, and then you do obviously pick up on the fact that it's about her, actually.
I mean, at the end of that shot, like you said, is the bit where it turns off the light.
And he's not in it
her.
anymore.
Yeah.
But it felt like it was about both of them. And then it felt really weird that he started to be dropped from the film.
I don't know. I think for me it was pretty natural. I think especially with, again, in that first scene, the way they shot it with, he's like out of focus 90% of the shots.
Yeah.
It's like him in the foreground and her in the background, but her being in focus. And I think the fact that in the second scene, we're coming home into that, we're entering that scene through her perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like she
everything becomes
home.
from her perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I had an issue with that personally. No.
Okay.
I think the film, as I do, like, I see what you're saying, and I think there is an element of, I also kind of in my head was like, oh, it's like, we're going to see both of these people and how they react to this situation.
Yeah.
But then I think very quickly it became, like, clear that it was her story. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is definitely her story. I just feel like in the first scene, they do set up that he has some things to overcome as well.
Yeah.
And then because he gets dropped, he doesn't
that's
overcome
true.
those
It feels
things.
like it doesn't really ever deal with
It doesn't
whatever
resolve it.
he's
And
dealing
then-
with.
So it got, for me, I think it was when it kind of got, when I realised we were in the finale, I was like, oh, but he's not here. Like, he's not going to have this resolution.
Yeah.
And then he just doesn't.
But then I think they also set up during the film that he's not as obsessed with this as she is.
Yeah.
Like, he has the initial moment of being like,
But
whoa.
then, like, it's his binoculars for his birthday. Like,
True, that is true.
he's the one being like, oh, I like watching them and stuff. It's like they're both pretty on par with the
But then is the idea
choices
that
they're
then she
making.
takes it further, whereas he doesn't.
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
And like she has the extra layer of like she is watching them and wishing she had that life, but then she's also kind of annoyed that he's watching them.
Yeah.
She has that extra layer of like
It's jealousy, right?
Yeah.
Like, for both of them. It's like
Yeah.
she's jealous for herself in the
Yeah.
sense that she's like, why can't I be that age again and do all this stuff?
Yeah.
And she's also jealous or annoyed of, or she's jealous of them for the fact that they have her husband's attention.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like ironic.
Yeah, so she kind of has that extra layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of like I
I
don't
know what you're saying. I
It-
feel like there's maybe another story to tell within it.
Yeah, it kind of disappointed me a little bit, but then you're probably adding like another 5-10 minutes to the runtime if
Which
you're
is
going to
20
do that.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's already 20 minutes. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've covered everything.
I've got one big bad for the film.
Okay.
It ended.
You just wanted to carry on.
Yes.
Yeah. fair enough.
No. I think it ends great. Trying to think if I have any nitpicks.
Yeah. Are we moving on to nitpicks?
I mean, kind of for me, nitpicks would be like we talked about the like. I think the husband flubs a few lines, and I think he's not great. But I do think he has screen presence. He really reminds me of Jake Johnson now I think about it. He has like a vibe to him.
Oh yeah, kind of.
Like, it could be Jake Johnson's like older brother or some shit.
Yeah. My one is, I think I have a couple. The scene where she's watching the neighbor's husband die.
Yes.
She has like a shirt or something delivered.
She does, yeah.
It feels really weird.
Oh no, that's what I wanted to talk about. No, see, okay, that's so interesting you said that. I'm so glad you said that.
Okay.
This is one of the really good things I want to talk about. If we
Right.
could travel back in time quick to the good section, we can do that, right? It's not gone.
It's permanently gone now. You
No.
can't talk about good stuff anymore.
So that scene does one of my favorite things that happens in films, right? And if you want to be a good editor right now, you'll edit in this clip from Taxi Driver. Okay. So in Taxi Driver, there's a scene where Travis Bickle, the main character, makes a phone call to his love interest in the film, right?
Right.
The phone call's really horrible. They've gone on a date. He takes to a porno theater. It's really horrible. Like, because he just doesn't have any idea of how to socialize with people or
Yeah.
anything. He thinks it went really well. So he calls her to ask her out again, and she says no. And it becomes a really painful conversation. It's horrible. Like, it's just awkward. And the camera, so he's, if you're showing it right now on the screen, which you should be, he's on the payphone. He's talking to her. He finds out that she doesn't want to see him again. And the camera shifts away from him to a hallway just next to him. And then we just follow the rest of that conversation. We are not looking at him. We are just looking down a hallway. And the conversation eventually ends, and he walks back into shot and walks down the hallway. And what's cool is it's the idea of you're putting yourself in the place of where does the character want to be and where is the character.
Okay.
It's like Travis doesn't want to be in that conversation, and in the same way, the camera, if you look at it from like an omnipotent point, it's like we as the audience do not want to be part of this conversation, so we're
kind
stepping
of-
away from it.
We're trying to leave.
She has to go and answer the door. We see her walk to that and walk off screen, and she's out of shot. But the whole time we stay in the corridor, we don't go because we know that she wants to be back watching the
Okay,
window.
yeah.
I love that shit. That's one of my favorite little things.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the intention. Is the idea is she's got to go and do this weird little chore thing,
Yeah.
which she mentions before, doesn't she? I think she says something about
Oh,
the
does she?
delivery.
Yeah.
I think so. I think they plant a seed for it.
I might have to watch that again
Yeah.
and like look at it from that because I thought they cut away. I thought they
No,
cut.
it's the whole. I mean, there's a cut in there somewhere, but within that shot, she walks to the hallway, goes to the door, and the whole time she's not.
Yeah,
in
you
frame,
never
but
see-
it doesn't cut from it.
Yeah, you never see the front door. Or
No,
anything like
and
that.
then she walks in and immediately just hangs the dress up or whatever it is, the clothes in the
Yeah.
corridor, and then walks past back into to see the window again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that bit. I have a nitpick though.
Okay.
I think the bald cap they gave the guy isn't very good. And I know he's very far away, but I did notice it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Like, I could see he had hair under there because it was like massive. His head was huge. So yeah, tiny little thing. I didn't really care, but
Yeah. My only other one, which is about the scene where Jacob sees her, you know, when she's watching in the night.
Oh,
In
yes.
the dark,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he
yeah,
kind
sorry,
of walks up to the thing. I thought his like kind of walking was really weird.
He walks in
he
really
just
fast.
Kind of, he looks like that. You know,
Meme.
the guy. The
Yeah,
meme.
I know what
He's
you're
just
talking
standing
about.
there like with his arms out at his sides, and he just turns and walks off screen.
He does it
again.
so fast.
Yeah, but then also it comes almost directly after the scene where they have an argument where they've like aired out all their grievances, and I guess maybe it's meant to be like, oh, she's back on it again.
Well, it's going over time, right? And I think there's a
Yeah.
couple of bits before that to show that it's been just this.
It's part of the. You go
reoccurring.
straight into the montage after the
Yeah.
argument, don't you?
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's part of that montage. I don't know. It felt a bit misplaced for me.
Okay, interesting.
But I can see where it's kind of coming from, like trying
Yeah.
to build back up to a point where she's a bit too obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of it, really. It's not too big of a deal.
No, but I see that.
It's more. It was more his delivery of it kind of made me laugh.
It
more
is.
than
I know what
anything.
you mean. As much as I like the shot, he does walk in really weirdly fast and then leave really weirdly fast.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I was going to say? There was another nitpick I had. Oh no, not another nitpick. Again, something sorry we didn't say, but I assume you also think this in the good section, is the neighbor actress.
You mustn't assume.
Let's assume the neighbor actress is really good.
Yeah, she
At
is
the
good.
end when she finally gets
Yeah.
like a scene with her, she's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And I love the little bit about her saying like, "Oh, I hope that's not weird." Like about
Yeah.
her like just watching them. And the wife, I really wanted her to be like, "Oh, don't worry. We've kind of like seen you guys too or something." So she's like, "Oh no, that's okay."
We've been watching you have sex for the last year and a half.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That was
The
really
film
good.
goes on for a really long time, doesn't it? Like
When you break down how much
period
happens-
of time.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, yeah,
internal
yeah.
to the film.
No, you're right.
Because she's pregnant at the start, or is she just giving birth?
No, I think she's already given birth.
In the
idea.
credits, Luther is credited twice. Once, and Luther 1 year old is in brackets.
Interesting.
So it's been at least 1 year.
Maybe she is pregnant in the first scene.
I feel like she is pregnant.
I think you're right. I think it's
Yeah.
just been an amount of time between.
Which means it's what, a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it must be. I double checked on my second viewing because I wasn't sure, but I wanted to see if it was seasons. It's not. But like with the establishing shots, you have the one where it's just the snow.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there's a bit where
And
it's
then at
snowy,
the end,
yeah.
it's like kind of sunny, but it's not. Like
No,
it doesn't.
okay.
I thought maybe it would go over four. Like you'd have 4 establishing shots, each being a season. That's not the
Okay.
case.
No.
So yeah, I think it does just jump forward in time quite a bit.
No, yeah, I thought it was very good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I still stand by. I think this is the best film we've
That's
watched.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So this is going to be your favourite one.
For now.
Yeah.
This is the new Tickle Monster. But you know the grass is always greener on the outside.
If you were
Go on.
living in a block of flats,
I do.
if you were living in a block of flats in New York,
I do.
yeah, I forgot you. Live
I
in a
travel
block
for
of flats.
this podcast. It's
And you-
not worth it ever.
And you have a massive window,
Yes.
and there's 2 films in windows opposite you in the building opposite.
Okay.
And one of them is Tickle Monster, and one of them is The Neighbour's Window. Which
Okay.
one are you going to watch more often?
Probably the neighbor's window.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like Tickle Monster scares me.
What if? Okay. What if? What if Tickle Monster and The Neighbour's Window were living in the same apartment and they were
Yes.
having sex on a very regular basis?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Bit of a creep.
What?
Are you going to ask for binoculars? for
I'm
your
not a
birthday?
creep. I'm not a weirdo. What am I doing here?
Get back on your plane and go back to New York.
No. Yeah, no, I would definitely watch this film. Have
Yeah.
sex with Tickle Monster. Easily. So easily.
God.
Yeah, and I'd be like, man, why can't I be them?
What if the neighbour's husband was the Tickle Monster?
I like the idea that it's the wife is like, man, why can't we have what they have? Like, all this stuff. It's just him like,
I can't have...
with the weird little fingers. I think little. It's
Yeah.
huge.
It's like whenever you look across the street with your binoculars, you can hear the music
Yeah.
that plays.
Otherwise you can't.
Yeah.
He's like really subtle. He's kind of there. As soon as you look through the binoculars, it's really like, boom.
It's like a jump scare.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what you're looking at.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Quiz?
Oh yeah, quiz. I forgot about the quiz.
I know.
I'm kind of excited now.
Fuck.
Oh no.
I'm asking you, aren't I?
Yes, that's how it works, right? Yeah.
Cool.
Whoever's film it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I should also say, that's why I'm happy you let me have this film and you didn't pick it. Because it means, like last year, I think I have the best film.
Oh, okay.
I've won.
Oh, great. So, I'm going to ask Alex 3 questions about films from the little book that we have. If he gets all 3 right or all 3 wrong, he'll get a bonus question, which is a true or false question at the end.
And how do we explain, what do you call it? What do you call the point?
Oh, the victory lap or the pity point.
Nice.
Yeah. Question 1.
Ooh.
In which relatively recent film did the voices of Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley, and Idris Elba star?
I know that one.
All right.
I know that one. Good film. I enjoyed it.
Which recent Martin Scorsese mob epic united three legendary actors steeped in menace to spin a potent late tale of crime and corruption with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci playing Frank Sheeran, Jimmy Hoffa.
Wow, it's given
and
all the information.
Yep.
I knew it beforehand, but okay.
Buffalino, respectively. I mean, just the word recent.
Mob epic.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just a given.
Next.
Hate this. I'm going to rephrase this one because the last two are way too easy.
Fuck off.
Who played Katie Heron in Mean Girls? Or Sadie Heron in Mean Girls?
Oh, I don't know what character that is. I think I can make a guess.
I have left out a very key piece of information
Okay.
because it's too easy otherwise.
Okay. Well, okay, let me go back. First of all, would you have known the first one out of curiosity?
No, I wouldn't have.
Okay,
No.
interesting. The first one's The Jungle Book.
Do you want to give me the year?
Ooh, it's 20...
I'll give you an extra point if you get the year.
If I can get the year, I can get
Yeah.
an extra point. It would be 2017?
Incorrect.
What is it?
16.
Oh, it's close. I'm always a year off. I always need to... I need to start in my head just being like a year earlier than I'm thinking.
Question 2.
Question 2 is The Irishman.
No, it's Mean Streets.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I'm not stupid. Al Pacino wasn't in Mean Streets.
Okay.
Idiot.
Heat.
And it wasn't recent.
It's actually Heat.
No!
Are they all in Heat? Is
No.
Joe Pesci not in Heat?
No.
No.
It's Val Kilmer. It's a massive ponytail. Val Kilmer, De Niro, and Al Pacino. And Portman. Natalie Portman's in that.
Is she?
Yeah, she plays the daughter of Al Pacino. Or stepdaughter, maybe.
Yeah. God, I've not seen that film in a long time.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Very good.
Yeah, very good. Okay, the
Question
last
3.
one. Okay. Can you read it again really quick?
Who played Katie Heron in Mean Girls or Sadie Heron? I'm really not sure. I think it's Sadie.
Why are you...
It's a C.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming it's Lindsay Lohan.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Lindsay
Okay.
Lohan.
So I know obviously Regina George is Rachel
Rachel
McAdams.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how they would expect you to know any of the other character names.
Well, one of them's Amanda Seyfried, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And Tina Fey's in it.
The actual question is which LL played Katie
Oh,
Heron?
okay.
So
yeah, no,
easy.
fair enough. I'll take that. Oh, I get a victory lap.
You get a victory lap. Do you want 1, 2, or 3?
Let's go 2.
Let's go 2. Christopher Plummer hated The Sound of Music, in which he played Captain Von Trapp, so much that he calls it The Sound of Mucus.
Oh, I want it to be true. It's actually, I think it's maybe the hardest one that I've heard.
Yeah?
I'm going to say true. I want it to be true.
It is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
4 points for Alex.
Woof. Could I hear the other two?
Yeah,
Truth or
sure.
false?
Truth or false?
Truth or false, please.
J.K. Rowling was offered the role of Harry Potter's mum.
I think that's true.
Yeah, it is
Yeah, I remember hearing that somewhere.
true. Glad she didn't take
Oh,
it.
thank God.
That would have ruined it.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Zaza Gabor was married 9 times.
Oh.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think so. Like
Yeah.
Jar Jar Gabor, maybe.
Jar Jar.
True.
It is true.
Yes.
You got a trio of trues this time.
A truo.
Nice. All right.
This is a good episode for me.
It was a very good episode. The best film potentially and 4 points.
Fucking
Wow.
hell.
Well, thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
If you've enjoyed it, maybe leave a like or subscribe even.
Oh, that'd be nice.
We hit 50 subscribers recently,
Oh,
and we're
nice.
we're nearly on 60 at the moment.
Whoa!
We're steaming up.
Whew. What's the comment?
Would you watch The Tickle Monster?
Have sex with the neighbour in the neighbour's window.
Yeah.
You can pick either neighbour. The
The husband or the wife.
Yeah, but it
yeah.
has to be the husband at the end of the film. Can't pick. It needs
Huh?
to be the husband at the end of the film, not him at the beginning of the film.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, the neighbour.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So the Tickle Monster is caring for someone who's dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sleeping with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pick one. Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. We actually got a comment on Two Strangers Who Meet 5 Times.
What did it say?
It was a genuine comment, and they said... let me check.
Genuine comment.
Well,
it wasn't a fake one.
Usually it's just bullshit, isn't it?
Go on.
I've seen this film, and I really liked it. The camera work wasn't great, but I think the way an unoriginal message was told allowed me to forgive it. I think it's actually meant to say original.
It's the most sarcastic.
I know. I don't mind him being homeless. This is in comment to what you said about the homeless thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind him being homeless. Their first encounter would probably lead to him losing his job, which could lead to him not being able to pay rent, losing his relationship, etc.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like the idea of how to tell the story was a little better than the execution, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd agree
I
with
think
that.
that's a very good comment.
Yeah.
From William Shakespeare, 9815.
What?
I know.
Oh my god! We did it! Willie Shakes! Oh man.
We're going up in the world, I'm
This
telling
is a
you.
good episode.
We're going places.
Oh, thanks, Willie. Well, until next time, you won't hear us,
But we'll see you.
Bye.
Fucked up then.
No,
Bye.
that's fine. Why did you say we fucked it up? Why would you do that?